I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co, and today we're doing a prototype unboxing of Narcos from Smart Up Games. This is a sponsored unboxing, which is not something that we do a lot of on this channel. In fact, I think in the 6 years I've been doing this channel, I think this is the second time I've done a sponsored unboxing. That said, this still is going to be an unboxing and rambling. If you are familiar with the channel, welcome aboard. Also, my unboxing ramblings means we will be talking about and showing off to some extent Narcos over here, but also wherever the conversation goes, the conversation goes. And also, other things to note. First of all, prototype. I said it already, but just in case, this is a prototype. Rules, components have to change. Not that we're doing a lot of rules today. We are doing a lot of components today. Also, we will have more content for you on this next week, I guess. The game's launching next week, so we'll have a preview content, which is a full overview. I will be loosely talking about what I know about it so far, which is like 75% of the rulebook. And then also, we will have a gameplay for you. We'll have a gameplay, so you can check that out as well. Speaking of the rulebook, this is the rulebook. There's no breaking the shrink on this, because prototype. But this is the rulebook, which is long, but it's not as long as it seems at first glance. You see, it's currently like 60 pages, 59 pages, 60 pages. That is a lot of pages of rules. The good news is the last 10 pages or so, or maybe more than that even, are going to be like optional rules. You have to get to page 48, and they are very easy to read pages. Lots of iconography, lots of images, very large text. I am almost done in the rulebook. I've read through most of the context, most of the concepts in the game. The last thing I have left is the game structure, like the actual, like, okay, well, what do you actually do on a turn to drive the game forward? So I will be talking about some degree of things, but not necessarily everything quite yet. Now, Narcos is based on the TV show of the same name. Well, at least, I mean, the game is not necessarily based on... The game is, yeah, I mean, it's based on that. It's a game about, you know, smuggling drugs and playing as the cartel or the DEA or the ROC, I believe, or the Republican of Colombia. I believe that's what it is. You are playing as basically two police factions, as well as two... sorry about that. Two police factions, as well as playing as two cartel factions. So it plays, I believe it's 2 to 4 player. I don't think, oh, there's a solo mode. I just saw the solo mode. It's 1 to 4 players, because I literally just told you there's 10 pages of solo rules in there, so there better be a solo mode, or that would be a little awkward. But in this game over here, let's zoom out a little bit more so you can see a drop more. That's zooming in, not zooming out. We have the board over here. This is on the 3 to 4 player side, where you're going to have 5 different labs, which you can produce drugs in. You're trying to move those drugs either to various airports on the board, or alternatively directly to the various ports where you're going to sell them in New York, over here, Miami, New York or Miami. New York or Miami is where you're going to be selling those drugs. There's going to be a price aspect to it, which we'll get into. Again, we'll do more rule stuff in the preview. I'm going for general vibes, but there's a lot of different things you manage in this asymmetric game, and it's very asymmetric. Again, there's 2 police factions and 2 cartel factions. This is the other side of the board over here, so you can see the 1 to 2 player side over here, which is only going to have 3 labs and 2 airports, and this, you know, just selling in Miami as opposed to Miami and New York. So much more limited scope. Now, the cartel factions and the police factions are not on the same side per se. They are all out for themselves in this game. You're going to have cartels are trying to win, and then the police are trying to win. Everyone wants to try to get points, and there's going to be some things that are kind of common ways you get points, but there's going to be other things that are unique to those factions. So, for example, as the police factions, you're going to gain points by busting drugs and then catching up, engaging in drug busts. So if you conduct a drug bust, a successful contest, I believe it's called, you're going to get points for that, and then you get more points the more drugs there are, but I don't remember which one's which. Either the ROC or the DEA gets extra points for drug busts. Alternatively, you're going to be trying to get ahead of them on the notoriety track. I think it's called the notoriety track. I'll have to double check that. And then again, the same thing is reversed. One faction gets more points for that. So you have this asymmetry going on as far as what different factions are going to want to do. That's going to be as the police. As the cartels, you're going to get points for a bunch of things. I'm trying to remember what the main thing is. The gaining points for, where's the track over here? Here we go. Here's going to be your influence track, your the politics track, effectively. You'll be getting points for that. But also, and excuse the visitor, we have a little bit of visitor showing up over here. How are you doing, Calcifer? But also getting points for the amount of money you generate each round. This game is going to be a hidden movement game, effectively. Or hidden, not really hidden movement. Hidden movement's the wrong terminology. It's a action planning game where you're going to be placing down chips. Action planning might not be the right terminology either. You are going to be placing down chips. These are each individual faction's chips over here, and you're going to be placing them down in the hidden side, so players don't know exactly what you're trying to do as they try to figure out how to most get in your way or accomplish their own goals. So basically, as a cartel faction, you're producing drugs, trying to smuggle those drugs to the various cities, and then engaging in fights with the police who are trying to stop those drugs from making their way to the target destination, and you're doing so to get money. One of the things the game is going to have is in these locations over here, there's going to be a price determination aspect, where depending on the grade of the drug you produce in the lab, or as well how many police are in the area, as well as how many drugs are being sold, that will determine the price. So for example, if you had 1 police in the area and 5 drugs being sold, that would be 3 million plus 5 million, which is 8 million. And if it's grade A drugs, you multiply it by A for a total of 5 plus 3, 24 would be the value of a grade A drug. Thematically, think of it as the more drugs there are, the more the price goes down. The more police there are, the more the price goes up, because if there's lots of police, it's harder to get your hands on drugs. So greater police presence increases the price, greater supply reduces the price, and then obviously the grade of the drugs is going to be your third aspect, which is going to multiply the price. So you're playing all these games as far as the hidden actions, managing your particular faction, all of that as you try to basically stay under the radar as the cartel, or bust drugs and intercept the cartels as the various police factions. These are going to be your chips over here, which are going to be a bunch of basic chips, but also the character chips, more so for the cartel than anything else. But you're going to have cards that are going to represent characters in the board, which we'll be able to show you some of those soon, because these cards have excellent artwork. In fact, one of the things about this game is the art is fantastic. This is an IP. It's an intellectual property based on the TV show. And when it comes to basing things on, you know, movies, TV shows, video games, I find one of the greatest areas a game can make a misstep on is how that game looks. Are you trying to be too true to the images? Are you trying to do either bad representations of the art or actual movie, TV, video game skills or assets that can really drag a game down? Like Monster Hunter from Steamforged Games, much as I like it, uses video game assets in a way that's just not as inspiring. A lot of the Cryptosaic games that have, you know, the DC, Justice League, all that, they often use various images, or the Lord of the Rings ones, that just aren't super inspiring as far as the game goes. Whereas, we have more cats joining us over here, whereas things like Dune Imperium, for example, are kind of the epitome of how well to do video game art in a way that captures the spirit and feeling of the intellectual property, while being very unique. And I think Narcos did a great job of that. We are literally sprawling with cats on this table. They've decided that this is the time to join me for this unboxing. Anyway, so like over here, you can see I'm going to zoom in a bit more, which means you won't see the cats as much for a second, but you will see some cards. We also have miniatures to show you as well. So you can see here's the various characters and cards, and you can see all the various like things they'll do. There's going to be discarding cards to gain effects. There's going to be the various buy actions cards give you, one-time effects of cards, or repeated effects. Do you have any repeated effects over here? Maybe not on any of these. There should be some repeated effects, but I'm not seeing them on these cards. It might be other factions only. Like here we go. This over here is an ongoing repeatable effect, but you could also discard the card to get that. And you could even do both in the same turn, or at least I'm pretty sure you can do both in the same turn. But over here, let's show you some more of this. I believe, what's his name? Who's the really popular actor who everyone likes? The Mandalorian? Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal is in the show as well. Over here we go. I assume that's Pedro Pascal because it certainly looks like Pedro Pascal. I have not watched Narcos, and what I would love for you to tell me, by the way, is should I watch Narcos? Is Narcos good? Because this made me want to watch Narcos because, like, again, I love the art of the board game, what it's doing, and it makes it more. I mean, I'd definitely watch Narcos if it had this art. It looks a little Archer adjacent. Like if Archer were a little less cartoonish, this could be like Archer meets Narcos. Speaking of which, why has there not been like an Archer board game? There is Archer a Love Letter, I believe, if I recall correctly, but there's not like a true Archer board game, and I think an Archer board game could do well. There's all these kinds of IPs nowadays. IPs in board games seems to be the new thing that everyone's doing, taking advantage of the built-in audiences that come with an intellectual property, be it a TV show, a movie, a video game. Books, not so much. We haven't seen a ton of books. I mean, I guess Lord of the Rings inherently is a book, but like that's also a movie as well and a TV show. Not that we should, not that it should be, given the way that. Listen, I watched the first season of The Rings of Power. I thought it was terrible. If you think that it's worth watching the second season, and here's what I don't want. I'm not going to watch the second season if the second season is not as bad as the first. If that's the best thing you can say about the second season, that's not a good reason to watch it. The real question is The Rings of Power actually worth watching? Because I hated the first season. Like, it is genuinely better to not have existed. That's my own stance. I'm not trying to ruin it for those who liked it. If you liked it, then I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for you that it exists. To me, it is actually a stain on the IP of The Lord of the Rings. Then again, I didn't like the books either, so maybe I'm not the best judge of character. I like the movies. I like the world. I like a lot of the board games and video games in Lord of the Rings. I didn't care for the books. They were too long. But the books were at least good, just not to my taste. The TV show I thought was terrible. Anyways, I don't know why I'm going on this particular tangent, but I did warn you this is an unboxing and rambling. Here we have the main character, I think is the main character of Narcos. Again, I haven't actually watched Narcos, so I'm kind of just going with general vibes, I guess, of these cards and what little things I've seen from the TV show, which I think is just like trailers. I think that's all I've seen from the TV show. So yeah, so I'd love for you to tell me, is Narcos actually worth watching or not? So I can decide whether to add it to my list. Because you know what I did just do? I just finished watching The Boys. The Boys, I finally finished it. I finished Gen V, I finished The Boys. No spoilers here. We're not doing any spoilers. Oh, I have more stuff to show you. I forgot all the miniatures over here. I didn't forget. I'm getting them. I'm getting to the miniatures. Oh, and we also have a punch board over here. So let's go ahead and show you all the various cash that you have. Again, you're generating cash in the game, but the way it works is that the cash you have, you can spend cash you have as well as cash you generated each round. But if you are a cartel player, you get more points for the more cash you actually generated in a round, generated and did not spend. So if I make $10 million and spend $8 million, I'm only going to get points for the $2 million that I generated. So you kind of want to be careful as far as how proactively you're spending now versus saving for future rounds. Anyways, all that money deciding round is over here. We got our 1s, our 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, and 100s. So a lot of money potential over here. We have our track over here. This is specifically for, remember I mentioned how the police players kind of want to chase the cartel. So you have this track over here, and depending on where the cartel players are, if the police are up to that amount, then you're going to get points for being close to catching the cartel. Or if you're ahead, you also get that maximum 3 points. You're kind of overlaying. If a cartel player is like on 25, you're going to put this over here and say if the police are anywhere within here, they get that many points. So again, it's one of the ways the police player is going to get points. I'll punch out the rest of these later, but that's what you have for the punch board. Just one punch board, nothing too crazy. But we do have a tray or 2 trays. We have 2 trays full of miniatures to go through over here. So let's go ahead and show you some of these miniatures. Again, prototype to all these various things so that you are aware that you're seeing a prototype. Just in case, I don't even know if the miniatures arrived intact or not because I have not looked at this. I did open the box to grab the rule book so I could at least brief myself on what it is we're going to be playing over here. But over here we have, we got magnets on the bottom. Why are there magnets? Do the magnets go, do the magnets go on the chips? Is that what's happening? I think they do. I think these guys are going to have like little chips in them. Yep, look at that. Look at this. This is the chip. So we got a guy that has a magnet on the bottom, and again, I don't know what the final thing will be like, but part of that is because some of these chips will turn into various guards effectively. So you have like various police units and things, and you're going to have them turning in. Oh, I know why. Because, for example, if we have El Patron over here, you need to be able to show its strength value. So you can show that over there, and let's try to find you a police unit so I can show you what that looks like, because I think they should have a rotating dial. I just need to grab this out over here. Get out. Okay, do we have, here we go. So here, for example, would be a police unit chip. I'd have to grab a police unit guy, but this is probably a police unit guy. That looks like police unit adjacent. I'll show you him shortly. We have our chip on the board, and he starts off at level 1, but then you can rotate him to be level 2. Well, that's level 4. Go clockwise over here. Level 2 over here, and then level 3. You can't see as well in the top cam because his gun is actually stopping it, but you can kind of see over here. There we go. And then over here, swiveling again, and he's level 4. So that's kind of the idea of having these magnets on these guys, so you can see the level of the characters. But anyways, let's put these chips back over here and show you the actual miniatures. So for actual miniatures, let's put this stack back over here. We'll show vehicles next, I guess. So I'm not going to show you every single miniature, but I'll try to show you the various unique miniatures. This one came from up here. That must have been up here, but that feels weird because that's a single green miniature in a sea of other miniatures. So let's go through a bunch of characters and see what we have as far as these minis. So we have this guy over here. Do I want to zoom in more? I probably want to zoom in more. Can I zoom in more? A drop more. That's all I had. I had a drop more. And maybe we'll move the board so we can more accurately see these things. There we go. That's miniature 1. We have these guys over here. Those guys are more miniatures. And again, these are going to be some of the characters. Because again, you have cards that represent the characters. When you play those cards, that's going to be characters you can... Oh, wait, that goes like that. That's going to represent characters that go on the board and have a presence. I'm going to show you all the red faction miniatures before moving on to other factions, just so it's easier for me to track what I'm showing it to you as I show it to you. So we have these guys over here. And then we also have these guys over here, which I guess these are 3 of the same. So I guess I'll just show you other miniatures instead. Oh, that's interesting how they did that. I wonder why they did it that way. So these two miniatures, well, I guess I'll show you this last one first. Let's show you a few over here. So we have her. This is the last red one. There's a few of these. These are going to be drug mules, I imagine. So they have drug mules that are going to fly with your drugs. The reason she's holding her stomach is because that's what a drug mule does, which is, I guess, a slightly dark tone to it. But is she holding her stomach? It looks like she's holding her stomach. She does not look well. This is a little dark. So drug mules, for context, not that you should ever have to know this, you swallow little bags of drugs and you hope they don't burst in your stomach, and that way you can bypass the various drug sniffing guards and travel on a plane, and you just have little bags of drugs in you that you then have to poop out. So it's not the most pleasant experience. Hopefully you should never have to know anything about being a drug mule. Now these two characters over here were interesting because they were in the same compartment together. They're kind of like stuck together in this way, like a little bit like almost romantically entwined, like they're dancing in the same compartment. Is there a reason for that? I have no idea. I haven't watched the TV show, but they're literally taking up one single space in the same little spot, which no other characters are doing, which I do find interesting. Here's a bunch of policemen over here. They're all kind of similar, so I'll show you the two different sculpts. There's a whole lot of this one, and then one of this one. So again, a whole lot of this one, and one of this one. These are the policemen sculpts that you'll see for, I assume, the DEA, but possibly the Republican of Colombia. I will know more about this when I'm actually getting into the playing part of things. We have a green character that I've not shown you, and this guy who seems to be relaxing, probably the other factions. So I assume the cartel factions are going to be red and gray, and the police factions are going to be, oh wait, no, there's more drug mules. There's more drug mules in a different color. Now I'm thrown off. I'm thrown off in the color coding over here. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So we have this guy over here. If we can zoom in a bit, if we can focus a bit, not zoom in. So there we go. He's kind of relaxing. He feels like someone who you probably don't want to be too in their face. Because these people who live in this world, like, I mean, granted, we do have a broken miniature. We have a broken miniature, which I thought when it comes to prototype miniatures are kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Fragile. Fragile. Not a complicated word, just, fragile. So we have more drug mules in a different color, this darker blue aesthetic. So maybe the darker blue characters were not police, but the other drug faction, the, what was it again? I don't remember the two faction names. There were two faction names for the drug smugglers, and then the DEA and the ROC. Anyways, outside of that, we have our modes of transportation, as well as some more various baddies. So we have a lot more of these green guys over here, as well as some more red guys. So I'll just show you. They're the various military presence of the two factions, I guess. Although, again, maybe this is the Republican of Colombia, maybe these are police. I'd have to go check. I assume this is a cartel faction. This might be the Republican of Colombia. I'm just guessing. I'm guessing the ROC. But again, this is probably all listed in the rule book. Well, we have two. Yeah. Okay. Fine. I found the various trucks, which is a big part of the game. So we have our three modes of transportation for smuggling drugs. We have the drug mules, which are going to go to airports and smuggle them away. You have taking the roads. That's going to be moving along this board, which I'm kind of showing you over here. You're moving from the lab over here and then down to a specific city. And those you're going to have these trucks for. So you're going to have trucks moving along these various zones. And again, these will be chips on the board face down before you reveal them and show that there's actually drug runner trucks over here that are going to be smuggling the drugs for the various respective factions. So these are the two faction colors because these are the two colors of the trucks as well as the color of the drug mules. And then lastly, the last thing you have is you have private airports. Private airports are going to be incredibly helpful to be able to fly. I don't want to break these airplanes. I'm worried I'm going to break these airplanes. Uh-oh. Because this is supposed to come out. Okay, give me a second here. Because, okay. I guess I push up from the bottom. I must, oh no, this is not safe. 1 second. These are going to have to come out. The way this is in, okay. I don't want to break things, so I'm trying to be super careful. But I think that, can I push, why won't, oh, there we go. Okay, we got one over there. And there we go. Okay, we got them out. I'm going to have to be very careful with these because prototype insert in order to make these airplanes fit. But now we have these guys for the various airplanes that are going to go to your private airports and smuggle your drugs that way. That's kind of what we have, at least as far as the prototype goes. I've shown you all the components, the pieces, the cards, all the things you can expect to see in the base game of this. I have no clue what kinds of expansions will be present in the game on the campaign. You can check out the Game Found page for that. But this is basically an unboxing and rambling of the TV shows I'm watching, of Narcos, the board game inspired by the TV show, which I would love to know if you think I should watch or not. And then, I feel like I'm missing the box cover here. Did I have a box cover? Maybe there was not. There might not have been a final insert tray on top of this. I'll zoom out a drop. There we go. This is your box with all the remaining things going into it. And I will go ahead and figure out the last few pages of the rulebook, because I have to read the actual turn sequences, because right now I know a whole lot of concepts about how to play Narcos, but not the final details. But again, if you want to see how to play Narcos without the rambling part of things, you can check out the preview video, although I guess if you made it this far, you already did watch the rambling side of things. But you check out the preview video or the gameplay if you want to see more of Narcos in action. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.